Watch how far this Mississippi cop is willing to go to safeguard this guy's unalienable rights.
Did I just tell you to move? Because you can't be here.
Why?
Because I said you're on city property.
God.
I can read.
Listen to her.
You're fixing to piss me off.
I don't give a damn if I piss you off, right?
Really?
God, chill it out.
No, I'm not chilling it out.
De-escalate. Calm
Nope.
down.
Nope. I already
Back
told you
off
what
a
you
little.
need to do.
Back off a little before you make a big mistake.
Big mistake. Really?
Yeah.
No.
Let me
You're
show-
making a mistake,
you're
sir.
Okay, it doesn't look like he's going to safeguard this guy's unalienable rights.
God bless
I can read.
the homeless veterans. Now, do you understand what I'm doing?
Oh, you want to play that game? Really?
Look,
Really?
You've got one of two choices.
Oh, I do. So you're telling me I have a,
officer,
I have
have
a
one of
choice.
two choices. You can
Okay.
respect my civil rights, or you can violate my civil rights. Which one's it going to be? And you're not getting my ID. It's not happening.
There's a interaction in Mississippi, a police interaction, a policy enforcer interaction that I do want to cover. And the reason I cover this, just to be clear, I want to be crystal clear in every one of my videos, or at least most of my videos. The reason I put out this content is because I want a freer America. And by extension, I want people to have a freer world. And you can only be free when you push back the tides of tyranny, when you lift the veil and you expose what tyranny is, which is antithetical to liberty, and you identify what tyranny is, you call it out, and you get a whole bunch of people on board with the idea of liberty. Liberty runs contrary to tyranny. Tyranny wants to gain control over you against your will and without your consent. And anytime we see that on any level, in any shade, to any degree, we need to rise up against it. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. It's our duty to resist injustice. And I don't care where it's found. A lot of people look at certain interactions with cops and they just they brush it aside as, oh, that's no big deal. That's just a traffic stop. He's just asking for ID. Well, that's how it starts, guys. Show me your papers. If you don't have your papers.
May we see your papers?
I don't think I have them on me.
In that case, we'll have to ask you to come along.
I need you to stay calm and show us your papers.
Your papers, please.
Show me your papers. Me identify myself to you, that means you believe that you are of greater authority than me, that you have more rights than me, that you have more privileges than me, that you're higher than me. I'm not higher than you. You're not higher than me. We are human beings on the same plane. And when somebody rises above that, they transgress what's called the golden rule, because they're now doing to other people what they wouldn't want done to them. They don't want to be ordered around. They don't want to have to show their papers. They don't want to be harassed while they're traveling down the road. And that's why I do these videos, because I'm sick of being harassed. I'm sick of seeing people be harassed. And if you want to go to the level of they're loading up the box cars, taking you to a camp or about to take you to a camp, well, it starts with show me your ID. Give me your papers. You have no right to do this because I say so. Hey, you can't stand right here and do what you're doing. Even though you're not harming anybody, you're not threatening to harm anybody, you're not damaging property and refusing to pay for it, you're not stealing property, you're literally doing no harm to anyone, and yet a person is going to invade your space and tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, where you should or shouldn't be going. And if you don't comply with their commands, then the long arm of the law will come and touch you and punish you against your will and violate you and rain down violence against you. So that's why I do these videos, because I'm sick of the violence. I'm sick of the force. I'm sick of the brutality. I'm sick of the tyranny. And apparently a lot of other people are sick too. So while I have a voice and while I have breath in my lungs, I will continue to expose the tyranny that we're about to see. This is from Jeff Gray. This is the YouTube channel Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations. I got to tip my hat to the armed fisherman who acquired this body cam footage. And the cop that you're going to see, let me just show you his picture real quick. The cop that you're going to see is this cop right here. His name is Officer D. Wilder of the Ocean Springs, Mississippi Police Department. This right here is D. Wilder. Let's take a listen to this interaction and watch how from the gate, Officer D. Wilder believes that he's above Jeff Gray, which means, and this is another thing too, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of the person who's being abused by the law enforcer. Put yourself in Jeff Gray's shoes, because if D. Wilder is going to treat Jeff Gray like this for no freaking reason, and we'll talk about Jeff Gray's message on his cardboard sign here in a second. But if he's going to treat, D. Wilder is going to treat Jeff Gray like this, he will absolutely treat you like this. And everybody that you love like this, your grandchildren, your grandfather, your grandmother. He is willing to go hands-on if need be, because he's willing to get you to be insecure in your person by requiring your ID. Listen to this. Right out of the gate, he comes with attitude.
Okay.
Recording.
So what are we doing? I heard you the first time. Why don't you answer my question? What are you doing? All right, you need to go somewhere else because you can't solicit here on the property. God bless them too. And have a nice day. I'm a vet for myself. And move. ID, please.
What?
Did I just tell you to move?
Why are you telling me?
Because you can't be here.
Why?
Because I said.
Make no mistake, ID is just another phrase that means the same thing as show me your papers.
Because you said?
Yeah, you're on city property.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you soliciting money?
God bless the homeless veterans.
Again, what are you doing?
God bless the homeless veterans. God.
I can read.
Listen to me.
You're fixing to piss me off.
I don't give a damn if I piss you off, right?
Really?
God, is it pissing you off have any kind of relevance on whether what I'm doing?
Yeah, you can't be here.
Chill it out.
No, I'm not chilling it out.
De-escalate, calm
Nope.
down.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. De-escalate. Calm down. Stop coming at me like you're above me. Hey, I'm a man. You're a man. What's the problem that you have? What did you get a call for? What do you observe right now? Because, you know, they're always saying, well, I'm just investigating. I'm trying to find out what's going on. I want to understand what's going on. Well, it's pretty simple. You walk up on a man with a cardboard sign that says, God bless the homeless vets. It's pretty simple to see that he's not harming, threatening harm, or damaging anybody's property. He's just out there doing what he's doing. It's pretty self-evident. So it's pretty crazy for them to ask the question, what are you doing, when it's clear to even a fifth grader what Jeff Gray is out there doing and what his message is. It's unmistakable.
I already told you what you need to do.
Back off a little before you make a big mistake.
Big mistake. Really?
Yeah.
No, you're making a mistake,
You're
sir.
asking me what I'm doing. I've
Yep.
told you how many times.
You didn't tell me.
God bless
I can read.
the homeless veterans. Now, do you understand what I'm doing?
Oh, you want to play that game, really?
Do you understand what I'm doing?
It's always a game with the cops. Oh, you want to play that game? Dude, you came up to me. You invaded my world. It's you harassing me. I didn't ask you to come up to me. Maybe somebody else did, but that's against my consent. You think that this is playing a game. I don't think that standing for individual rights and testing badge tyrants is a game. Unless you think liberty's a game, unless you think freedom's a game, unless you think it's a game, all those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men and women who died thinking they were protecting freedoms, unless you think that's a game, it's a pretty sick game.
I am standing
No,
on
I
a
don't know
public
what you're doing.
sidewalk.
You didn't tell me
on
what
a
you're
city
doing.
hall.
You keep telling me what's on your sign. You didn't tell me what you're doing.
Bless the homeless veterans. What do you not get about that?
What are you not getting understand me for you telling you to leave?
You can't tell me.
I can tell you to leave.
I'm
You're
engaged
on-
in constitution protected activity, sir. Look,
Really?
You've got one of two choices.
Oh, I do. So you're telling me I have
officer,
a
have one
choice.
of two choices.
Now, did you notice that attitude coming through? Oh, you're telling me I got one or two choices. Like, hey, it's usually me telling other people, here's the deal. You got one or two choices. This is how it's going to go down. See, they're used to being in the driver's seat. They're used to acting like your masters as they claim they're public servants. But when somebody else like Jeff Gray comes along and says, you got one or two choices here, and they don't even know what the one or two choices are going to be. And it seems pretty reasonable to me. But they're not used to being in that kind of position where they're given the ultimatum. They're the ones usually dishing out the ultimatum. Now he's going to have to sit here and take it.
You can
Okay.
respect my civil rights, or you can violate my civil rights. Which one's it going to be?
Oh,
Which one's it going to be? It's a simple choice.
Very simple.
You can violate my civil rights, or you can protect my civil rights. I'm standing here with this sign, and I'm going to stand here. God put it in my heart. I'm not going anywhere. And you're not getting my ID. It's not happening. You don't run me off for constitution protected activity. You don't get my, matter of fact, I'm gonna start recording. Get my phone out right here, okay?
See this? I'm recording right now too.
Can people get body cams from the city?
And that's the scary part. These cops know they got a body cam on them. They know they're recording, and yet they're still going to walk up and violate somebody's individual rights. They have access to the internet just like you and I do. They've probably seen hundreds, if not thousands, of these kind of interaction videos as you and I have. But they're still going to go and violate rights. They're still going to transgress the Constitution. They're still going to violate their oath on camera. That's what concerns me. Is these cops who are wearing these body cams who have no problem. I mean, there is no barrier between them and violating rights. It's just the gates are always open. The gates of tyranny are always open. They're never shut. And they're going to violate rights on camera. The concerning thing is, what do they do when the cameras aren't rolling or they think the cameras aren't rolling?
So you're recording too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
I'm glad you're recording as well.
You've got one of two choices.
So you're telling me what I have to do.
You've got one of two choices.
Okay.
You can respect my.
Well, let me go tell you this.
rights.
I'm going to go tell the mayor, and when the mayor comes out here to tell you to leave and you refuse, then I'm going to arrest you.
He sounds like a little kid. I'm going to go tell the mayor. I'm going to go tell daddy. I can't handle this by myself, and I can't think my way out of a wet paper bag, but I'm going to go tell the mayor. If he tells me you got to leave, guess what? You're going to leave. And if you don't leave, I get to lay my grubby little tyrannical hands on you.
All right, if I refuse.
Okay? Yes, if you refuse.
Even though I'm engaged in the Constitution.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Did you hear that? Even though I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity, the tyrant who took an oath to protect and defend that Constitution and everybody exercising that Constitution and their liberties therein, I don't care. It doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter to me. That you're out here exercising your rights doesn't matter to me. The fact that I'm about to violate your rights doesn't matter to me. That apathetic indifference and willingness to go full bore and put your hands on somebody and force them to do something that they don't want to do in America. Now, that might fly in North Korea. It will fly in North Korea. That might fly in China. It might fly in certain places in Russia. But this is America. He'd be a great police officer in North Korea, I think.
It
I'm
does
standing on a
not.
public sidewalk in front of
Because
City
you're
Hall.
allowed to move. You're allowed to leave.
I'm going to stay.
And you're
here.
being told.
I'm gonna stay. If the mayor comes out and tells me to leave under threat of arrest, I'll leave.
You're right back.
And that's sad.
You're on city property, sir. We can tell you what you need to do. All right, well.
I like what Cody said in the chat room. He said, you've said it before, Brian, the law enforcement officers aren't the problem. The mass of sheep that allow the behavior of law enforcement officers, that's the problem. And I agree. Guys, there's only a maximum amount of 800 to 920,000 law enforcers in the United States. And how many Americans are there? 320 million. That includes, children and young adults. So let's just say there's 150 million adults. 150 million to less than a million. We got them way outnumbered, 150 to 1. It's not a law enforcement problem. It's what the people are willing to accept from law enforcement. And believe me, there's a lot of people out here who will applaud what this cop is doing to Jeff Gray, not thinking for a second that, hey, I don't want this happening to me. Nobody puts themselves in the shoes of the person being violated. And that's another problem.
Well, I just got off the phone, making a phone call. And the thing is, you're actually on government property. Okay?
City Hall.
Yes. We have the right at City Hall, and me as being part of the city, can ask you to leave the property. Okay? We have that right. We own this thing.
We own this thing. Oh, it's not taxpayer funded. Oh, it's not supposed to be here to serve the people. Oh, it's not supposed to be here to safeguard the liberties of Americans. It's us. We're the employees of the government. It's us versus you. That's basically what he's doing. He's drawing that dividing line, that thin blue line dividing line, that government between the government and the people. I thought it was government of the people, by the people, for the people. Doesn't sound like you're for the people to me, officer.
City owns it. All right? So the city employee, as myself, people that work in there, has asked you to leave, and you refuse. Okay,
Want me to leave?
and
I'll
you
leave.
and you refuse. Let me explain myself before you go any further, because you're very confrontational. You want to tell me what I can and can't do, and you told me if I violate your rights, I'm gonna be, I don't know, in trouble, I guess. Well, let me explain this to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm a vet as myself. I understand what you're doing. That's fine. They don't want you here on city property. It's government run. All right, you understand that. I hope you're getting all this, because that way you can review it and understand it later. Now, if you walked off the property and went somewhere else, all right, not on private property, and did this, it wouldn't be a problem. You understand that? Do you understand that?
I'm engaged.
Do you understand that?
I'm engaged.
Yes or no? It's a very simple
I'm
question. Do
engaged
you
in
understand me?
constitutionally
It's like he's talking to a kid.
protected activity.
So let me explain this to you again. I don't care.
If you
Let
want-
me
if you're-
explain this again.
if they're trespassing
Let me
me, I'll
explain
leave.
this again. You're trespassed.
Okay, I'll leave.
Now you're done. Now, before you go anywhere else, I have a right to be here. Okay, let me explain the law to you again. I want your identification.
Who's being confrontational now? First of all, the guy who claimed that Jeff was being confrontational is the guy who walked up to him initially. Now Jeff's about to leave, and he's going to go back after him and confront him again after he just accused Jeff of being confrontational. The hypocrisy is off the charts.
All right. You want my ID? Can I reach in
Yeah,
my pocket?
you can reach in your pocket.
Okay, let's step away from it.
Because I want your
Can we
ID.
go over there and do this?
No, right here.
Okay. My ID is right here.
Because I have a valid reason to be here, and I have a valid reason to ask you for identification.
You don't care if I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity. You're a military.
Then go get your freaking lawyer and sue the city if you think that's a violation.
I would rather not.
Do you
do
not?
that.
Then do that, because I can't tell you what, you're not going to go anywhere with it. You understand
I
me?
would rather.
It's so easy for the guy who's going to feel no sting in his paycheck or in his bottom line or in his pension to say, go sue the city. In other words, he's saying, go sue the taxpayers for me violating your rights. Unbelievable, man.
not do that. I would rather you respect my constitutionally protected rights, especially being a
I do very much every day. But when you start becoming confrontational and telling me what I can and can't do, guess what? You're gonna lose every time.
Is it illegal?
Because I know what my job is. I know what the Constitutional says. I know what the God-given right is. You're not going to tell me anything different. You understand me? Now, yes, you want to get confrontational? I can get confrontational. Just that simple. I did 20 years in the military. I collect a VA check for being disabled. Yes, I understand that. I don't have a problem you holding that sign and saying that. But when somebody tells you you have to leave and you can't do it in front of a city building, guess what? You got to go. Just that simple.
I'm not answering that question.
Good.
You told me to leave.
If you can tell a guy with a sign that says God bless homeless vets to vacate the property, and you can trespass that guy for holding a sign that says God bless the homeless vets, then why couldn't you trespass somebody for being the wrong color? Or maybe you weigh too much to be on our government property. Or maybe you said the wrong thing. Or maybe you had a cross around your neck. Well, we're going to tell you, can you imagine telling somebody to leave if they had a cross around their neck? Can you imagine the firestorm, the media firestorm against this cop if he trespassed somebody for being the wrong color? This is just as, if not worse, because enshrined in the Constitution is freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, and yet he's being told to leave because he's exercising his freedom of speech.
I'm trying to leave, but you got my ID.
Yeah, I got your ID now.
I was trespassing, leave.
Yes, you are.
You stopped me from leaving.
When I run your information, then you're really free to go. 20 PD, copy of Florida deal.
And that's the voice of a public master, not a public servant. When I run your ID, when I say it's okay for you to go, that's when you're free to go. Otherwise, you're not free because I say you're not free. Now, if somebody's got that kind of power, then they're your master, not your servant. A servant doesn't speak to a master like this.
We don't know that. Well, even if I'm listening, it's still some kind. Even if I'm saying this, I told him multiple times, God bless the homeless. That's what I'm doing. That's what are you doing?
Now, here's some cops explaining.
We have city ordinances in the city. I'm not saying you were doing anything.
We have city ordinances. In other words, city ordinances, in our minds, city ordinances trump individual unalienable rights.
That until we do our job and investigate, right?
So,
After we read your sign, we see your
here's your driver's license.
We can't have you loitering though. So in this city, I don't know if you're familiar with the city ordinance or not. You can stay stagnant or idle in a public place in the sidewalk for 30 minutes or more. That's a violation of city ordinance.
Violation of city ordinance.
My trespass.
Yeah, you trespass. Don't come back on the city property.
For how long?
For not for what you're doing. Now, if you got business here, you can come back and do business, but you can't just stand here with a hold a sign. They're going to ask you to leave. Bye. Huh? Yeah, you get trespass. Yes. Huh?
Would I be arrested if I don't leave?
Yes.
So that's the end of this video right here. My question is, who would applaud this interaction? And I always ask myself this question: who would be for this cop coming up to an American who's exercising his freedom of speech, and who would applaud the stifling of that freedom of speech? You know, the first thing that comes to my mind, the redcoats. The redcoats would love to see this guy do exactly what he did. But the John Hancocks, the Benjamin Franklins, the John Adams of this world, the Thomas Jeffersons of this world, that's the reason Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. That's why we have a constitution, to safeguard the Americans against these kind of tyrants right here and this kind of tyranny. So the people who would applaud the action from Officer D. Wilder from the Ocean Springs, Mississippi Police Department would be the Redcoats, and the people who would condemn it is everybody who signed the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. That should tell you something, D. Wilder. That should tell you something, Ocean Springs, Mississippi Police. At the very least, this guy right here, this cop, should be fired. And really, if you go to 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, this is basically deprivation of rights under color of city ordinance, if it even exists. Deprivation of rights under color of feelings, the feelings police. They didn't even use a law, because the supreme law of the land is supposed to be the Constitution of the United States. So this comes from Jeff Gray, Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations. Here it is right here. I'll try to put a link in the comment, the pinned comment, or the description. But go over to Jeff's channel and give him some support. And yeah, I know I talk over these videos, but I think it's pertinent to stop every once in a while. Maybe I do it a little too much. Okay, I admit that I probably do. You keep running your mouth. Why don't you close your trap, Brian? I understand. But you know, I'm just compelled to say things because tyranny is running wild in America. This is just one small example of the tyranny that's running unabated throughout America. There's civil asset forfeiture. There's ERPO's extreme risk protection orders, the red flag laws. There's traffic stops that trump individual rights, that trump the Constitution by their very actions. You have no freedom at a traffic stop. You are under a custodial arrest at a traffic stop. Try driving off after the cherries and berries are activated behind you and see what happens. There is no freedom during a traffic stop. And what are they enforcing? Are they trying to make sure that you're safe, you're secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects? Absolutely not. They're there for the exact opposite reason. So leave your comments about this if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody. Leave a comment because it really helps overcome the algorithms and it increases engagement, which is what these social media platforms want to see. So if you think this is valuable, share this with everybody you know. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, subscribe to the channel or become a member or whatever. But I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you liking these videos, commenting on them, and sharing them. I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a good day. And remember, freedom is dangerous. It always has been and always will be. But the only thing more dangerous is not having that freedom. So it's worth fighting for. I will see you in the next one.